All right. Hello again. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Olga. I'm digital marketer in Sopra Banking Software, and I will be your today's host for the webinar. I'm very happy to welcome you in this webinar. We are going to speak about security in open banking, and thank you so much for joining us. Today, we are very glad to have our partner OneSpan with us. We are going to discuss all together the challenges of security in open banking, present to you our solutions, and also we are going to show you a live demo. So please make sure to stay tuned and to follow together with us. So now I'm going to say a couple of words of our super speakers that we have today. So please welcome Denis Van Ulle, with solution engineer in OneSpan, and we have Nicolas Darlavoie, digital and open banking expert from Sopra Banking Software. Thank you so much for being with us today. In case you have any questions during the presentation already now, you can always drop them on the questions and answers box in the right corner on your screen. You can see there is a chat box and there is a questions box. So please just make sure to type your questions in the questions box, and we will make sure to answer them after the presentation. So don't worry, you can write them anytime it's convenient for you. Well, I think we're good, and I pass the mic over to Denis. We're ready to start. Let's go.
Thank you, Olga. Allow me to start this presentation with a little introduction about OneSpan. For those who do not know OneSpan, let's start with the elevator pitch on the left side of the screen. OneSpan digital identity and fraud solutions help your customer to deliver secure digital journeys. So what does it actually mean? OneSpan started as a security company, a multi-factor authentication company named Vasco Data Security. We are very well known around the world for hardware authenticators. Vasco evolved since those years from a hardware authenticator towards a software authenticator, and started from an on-premise server solution towards a SaaS solution. After that, we merged with a couple of other companies to increase the solutions that we offer, because at OneSpan, we want to be a one-stop shop for the whole digital journey. We joined forces with a company named eSignLive, who does e-signatures, so the digital signing of documents. We joined forces with Dealflow, who does identity verification, so the onboarding process of unknown customers. Next to that, of course, we do authentication, as said, fraud analysis to investigate possible fraud, more about that later, and we evolved from hardware to mobile security, of course. As said, in regards to the platform, we started with on-premise solutions. Now we evolved, like any other software company, towards cloud-based solutions. In regards to our customers, we are a worldwide organization. We're noted on the NASDAQ as OSPN, and we serve more than 10,000 customers in over 100 countries worldwide. Some of those customers are listed below, such as ING, Rabobank, but also enterprise companies such as BMW, Volvo, financial leasing, and so on.
All right, thanks, Denis. And hello, everyone. I'm Nicolas Darlavoie, digital and open banking advisor at Sopra Banking already for 4 years now. I focus on the Benelux area and help banks and financial institutions with improving their digital and open banking offerings with our knowledge and services. So a really short message on SBS, or Sopra Banking Software. We are the partner of choice for more than 1,500 financial institutions worldwide, and we have a rich variety of solutions, from core banking to digital and, of course, open banking. So our customers are based in over 80 countries around the world, and they benefit every day from our technologies and software, as well as the expertise of my 5,000 colleagues. On the bottom side, you can see a small selection of our open banking, PSD2 compliance, and digital banking clients using our digital banking engagement platform. or in short, DBEP, which I will describe later and show later to you. We are doing this webinar today together with OneSpan because they are a highly valued partner of Sopra Banking and are part of our ecosystem and marketplace, and making their top security services available for all of our customers through our digital banking engagement platform. But let's quickly go to the content of this webinar on the next slide. So the phenomenon we're talking about today is, of course, what we call open banking. And we're talking about the connectivity and orchestration of data between financial institutions and third-party providers to deliver new products and services to the market. That connectivity and orchestration can be explained by, on the one hand, the need to connect to financial institutions to aggregate or retrieve and exchange that data. And on the other hand, the orchestration, which is the part that crunches, manages, manipulates, and most importantly today, secures that data. And this is what Sopra Banking delivers with the DBEP, the Digital Banking Engagement Platform. Examples of this we will give today and show you today in this webinar. So today we'll focus on the security part, like I said, of that orchestrating data and making sure you have the correct data from the right persons and from the trusted sources. So here on this next slide, so today this subject of security is a less liked subject in open banking. And the safety measures taken around this topic is not focused often upon. So banks and financial institutions usually have the focus on technical or the business possibilities, but data security is as important or maybe even more so. So on this next slide, there are the three main roles in open banking that have each distinctive challenges and responsibilities. So let's go over them. It's important to know those challenges. Let's start at the top, the user, or in PSD2 it's called the PSU, the payment service user. It's the consumer, just like you and me, and it needs to identify itself with the bank or the fintech. And we as users have the responsibility to identify and, of course, to not execute illegal transactions. That's clear. So secondly, we've got the bank on the left bottom side. So the bank is the also called the ASPSP, the Account Service and Payment Service Provider in PSD2 language. It's, let's say, the gatekeeper. It needs to provide trust, know what is happening with their consumers' data, need to ensure access security, needs to provide know your customer, KYC, KYT, know your transactions, and do all kinds of logging. So the risk of not doing this is not being compliant with the regulatory authorities, and having fraudulent transactions or data being taken away or stolen, with all of its consequences, of course. Third, there is the fintech or the third-party provider, TPP. That also needs to do KYC. It needs to know which customers are onboarded, or what they look like. It needs to also know which kind of transactions they are flowing through that platform as they aggregate data and initiate payments. They also have a regulated set of responsibilities. They also have a TPP license with the national authorities, and they need to comply to certain rulings. So for fintech, compliance is also at risk at the security part. And if a fintech is involved in initiating, let's say, fraudulent transactions or aggregating fraudulent data, it can certainly have consequences with the authorities, and not even talking about the reputational damage that could be done. So for each of these roles, there are dedicated challenges and there are dedicated needs and pains around security. But there are also security solutions for each of these needs. To counter these mentioned challenges, we've created a 5-step plan for this. So on this slide, we formulated this plan to approach a secured open banking journey, relevant for both banks and fintechs, based upon our experience in the security and the open banking market. And these steps are a best practice of what we've seen at our successful open banking customers and players in the market, ranging from banks to TPPs to fintechs. First step, use a digital platform. We believe this is the best way forward to start with a digital platform as a foundation. As a platform has services pre-integrated, it's quickly deployed, and it's a central place to orchestrate, connect, store, work, and secure your open banking data. This platform will be, let's say, the gateway to your ecosystems. And there are a lot of details to cover when doing open banking. Some open banking services can be consumed directly, but in other cases, you need to transform data. So you need to have microservices to do this. And the platform is a great place to build additional microservices like security-related solutions, not only for open banking, but for digital banking in general. All right. Second step, so once you have the platform running, it's time to start authenticating. And when you have the foundation running, it's time to authenticate those partners, banks, fintechs, users, which you are interacting with. You can add services or capabilities you would like to have in your open banking use case. A basic concept of open banking is to add value coming from your ecosystem and add services or products and coming from partners. And that's a really important step. So building an ecosystem takes time, but starting with a pre-integrated platform, you can quickly start getting traction and start authenticating and build from there. Thirdly, it's KYC, know your customer. To know what or who your users are, which partners you are connecting with on your platform, also more in depth from which devices and from which locations are users connecting, and are those devices which they are using not compromised. And there is a lot to know about users, which is needed for using safe data and the secure user journey and compliance. Fourth step, KYT. So you know your customers, you've authenticated them, and now you need to know those transactions. Which transactions or data is flowing in and out of your platform, and which transactions are the users doing and with who? Are these flagged or unusual or high amounts maybe? Are those blacklisted beneficiaries involved maybe? So if there might be an incident, you can trace back and pinpoint transactions. So KYT is also crucial for risk and compliance reasons. And finally, the last step, once everything has been set up, it's time to monitor and control. So set up the right alerts for access, users, transactions, locations, amounts, and many more. And lean back and be assured that if there are anomalies, you will be alerted. So know which data is flowing in and out of your platform. So in all of these 5 steps of this plan, both OneSpan and Sopra Banking are experienced and are able to provide solutions on how to secure the data in this open banking journey. Security solutions specifically meant for open banking will be discussed by Denis in this next slide.
Thank you. So in regards to step 2 that was discussed by Nicola, how to authenticate intelligently, OneSpan offers the following authentication principle. So we start with one of the services we offer, and that's mobile app security. Mobile app security is the principle of collecting all environment data from the mobile phone environment in which the app is operated. So that means if the app is operated in an unsafe environment, such as a rooted smartphone, or there is a keylogger present, or there is a screen reader, you want to know about it. So the first step for us to authenticate intelligently is to analyze the environment. So the mobile app security, the shielding of OneSpan comes to mind. And the next step, you want to take that data, these parameters you took from the authenticating environment, and you want to analyze them. Therefore, OneSpan offers a product that is named Risk Analytics. Risk Analytics is a combination of predefined rule sets, but also artificial intelligence. And in these rule sets, you can define which kind of transactions, which kind of non-monetary transactions, which are logins, or suspicious. But as fraudsters adapt to certain situations, you want to be one step ahead. And when they adapt a known fraud situation, which you have defined in your static rules, you want artificial intelligence to figure out this kind of new potential threat and also block it in advance. So that's the second step. First, we collect the situation, then we analyze the situation, and thirdly, of course, we want to do the authentication. So through the situation analyzed by risk analytics, we want to make sure that a dangerous situation is a step-up authentication. You want, for example, a dangerous situation to be verified by a Face ID, a selfie authentication, to make sure that a dangerous environment is handled by the actual user. And when a situation is deemed to be very secure, you know the environment, you know the mobile phone that is used, you know it's a safe mobile phone, and you know it's from the default location, the default Wi-Fi a user is used to log into. You want to make it as user-friendly, the authentication, as possible. So the combination of these three products OneSpan has leads to a fourth product, which is named Adaptive Intelligent Authentication.
All right, thanks, Denis, for that clarification. So enough about all the theory and the slides. We will now take a look at our solution in real life, a real working demo, where we will show the combination of open banking with various measures that will ensure a safe user journey. So while Denis is starting up the demo now from his screen, we will have a look at what we have developed. Are you able to share your screen, Denis?
Yes. There you go. The all goes fine. You can see my screen now.
Yeah. Indeed, I can see it. So what we see here on the, let's say on the right side, it's a real TPP app, a third-party app that has been developed by Sopra Banking, where we can really, as a third party, can aggregate data and initiate payments from, let's say, Sopra Banking side at a lot of over 3,500 banks in the world. So Denis will now log in with his own user account, which is there. And let's have a look. So it's there are no banks aggregated yet. So Denis will now add his personal bank account with his bank to the Sopra Banking TPP app. And there it is. So select the right country. We'll go to the Netherlands indeed. And there, for this demo, we will test use the Sopra Banking test bank. Because we will not aggregate his personal transactions in this demo. So here, let's say a summary has been given on what data will be aggregated, which needs to be done by TPP. And then he can give confirm that this data will be aggregated. And now he's hopped over to his bank, where he needs to approve it with a SCA procedure. And then he will take it over.
So when we approve this message for PSD2 purposes, the connection to our bank is made. On the left-hand side, you see an app of a banking app, which is simulated by OneSpan. So the aggregation request is sent to the application. The authentication for the Sopra environment is requested. When we click yes, we want to authenticate, we need to authenticate on the OneSpan or the banking app. We approve this request. And when we do so, we see that it is a success. So when we look at the backhand side, as I already discussed, risk analytics, how does it look from a OneSpan risk analytics side of things? When I look at the risk analytics engine, I have to log in again, of course. We have the possibility to investigate the latest events. We see there is a match on a static rule, a new platform connection, and the authentication request was a challenge fingerprint, as you witnessed. So the app requests to authenticate on the known trusted banking platform, the app, to challenge a fingerprint. So what happens next? As I explained, we go to a trusted device login validation, which was successful. It is an accept response, as you can see on the right-hand side. And we have a mobile login success. Therefore, the data was successfully aggregated in the banking environment. So when we go back to the Sopra environment, allow me to share my phone screen again here. We can request a payment. So there we go. For some reason, my phone disconnected. That's not a problem. So when we click on payments, we want to create a payment. We want to do so to a certain account I know is blocked, just for the purpose of demonstration how we know our transactions. So as a target, I will just say an external account. Fortunately, I already entered the IBAN before, so I don't have to do it manually. We have a contact name, Taylor Brown. We want to transfer a reasonable account, of course, a reasonable amount, of course, just to make sure. And let's say transaction as a label. When I go to payment summary, I get a summary of what I'm about to take action on. When I click confirm, I have the same screen, which is a transition to the banking environment. When I click approve, the transaction should come through on the left-hand side. It does. So as we can see, there is a request for that transaction. When I click to authenticate, I'm asked to authenticate with a selfie. So the authentication is successful. As you can see, the transfer has been done. Let's see if it's registered. As you can see, transaction is registered minus 109. So if we go back to our risk analytics, just to follow up on that event, I refresh the events. You can see now these were non-monetary events as we were aggregating the data on the SOAP platform. These little icons mean it's a monetary transaction, and we have a fraud disposition right here that's naming fraud. So we can check why it was named as fraud. It has a blacklisted beneficiary IBAN. Again, I choose an IBAN which was blocked. Therefore, you see the user Taylor Brown is blocked. Therefore, our risk analytics service demanded a challenge face recognition. Sorry, not a fingerprint, which I did with the trusted device transfer validation, and it resulted in an accept. So let's investigate why precisely it was flagged as fraud. As I said, it has a match on a blacklisted beneficiary IBAN. We have an option to have an alert section where all fraud selections come through. As you can see, just now, a new fraud has been flagged. And the transaction, as mentioned, the response was a challenge face recognition, and it is still not completed yet. So what does it mean to complete? Let's have a look. When we analyze a specific transaction, we can go to the details. We can have a look at the circumstances in which the transaction was completed. You can see all the details. You can edit any detail you want. So let's say, for example, I want to add the address town, for example. I want to know where in Belgium, because Belgium is already in there, where in Belgium the authentication took place. As you can see here now, the field was added. Address town is in Ghent, which makes sense because I'm living in Ghent. Further, we can continue that investigation. So allow me to go back to the previous screen. We can continue that investigation of that transaction through our analytics panel, which means we have a visual representation of the event. So this is our current user, and that current user has done transactions to different sites. You see Bordeaux, Ledenberg, Mechelen, and in the past also to Mechelen. This is a time scale, so 1 hour, 4 hour, 6 hour, and so on. This time scale can, of course, be modified to look further back into the past. But when we look to devices, it becomes a bit suspicious because we see different devices. This is the current one, iPhone 9.3. That's the one I'm using today. And especially the beneficiary, right? Because we saw the beneficiary was flagged as being a blacklisted IBAN. So what we can do now is take that beneficiary and drag it to the middle to investigate transactions done to that beneficiary. So where does that beneficiary get a request from? We see from Mechelen, we see another time Mechelen and Brussels. That's not suspicious. These are all in Belgium. That makes sense. We have these specific locations. These are IP addresses. These are the translated locations. And the different relationships. Who is transferring money? So we have the MyBank Sopra connection just now, right, in the last hour. But in the past, we can see different platforms, right? Platform 1, Platform 2, and Platform 3. So we can investigate in full detail about that specific transaction. Is this beneficiary, Taylor Brown, really that suspicious? And we can go really deep into detail. Again, I can do the same if I go from Mechelen, Belgium. We can continue and see all the transactions being done. So this is different beneficiaries, Jim Brown, and so on. So we can investigate the transaction in full detail. And once we have investigated transaction in full detail, we can choose to take action on that fraud flag. So when I click here on that specific last flagged possible fraud, I can add an action or a result to it. We want to complete it, to mark it as investigated. We can say no further action required, escalate to manager or other department. In this case, I have the feeling it's not really suspicious, so I select no further action required. We can add a memo to it, fully investigated by Denis van Hulle. Just so in case my colleagues look at this fraud case in the future, they can see any memo I add to the transaction. So now when we look at the alerts, we see that is set to completed and the money can be transferred. So that's about it in regards to demo. Let's go back to the slides.
All right, thanks, Denis, for that very interesting part of the demo.
My pleasure.
I hope it was clear for everyone. And of course, if there are any questions arise, please put them in the chat or contact us afterwards if you'd like a more in-depth demo, of course. So to summarize, here I would like to take a moment and explain why this partnership between OneSpan and Sopra Banking is important to you. You could see it as a 1 + 1 = 3 formula. So where OneSpan is one of the world's most important players, let's say, in security for the open banking sector, with their solutions that provide top-notch security services, and Sopra Banking is with its digital banking engagement platform able to deliver that open banking data to banks or fintechs or financial institutions in an orchestrated, secured, manageable way with insights and all data that's flowing in and out of your organization. And together with out-of-the-box tools to control, audit, manage, and guide your open banking journey. And of course, OneSpan is a prime partner in our ecosystem and marketplace. So it's open banking with security included. For example, if you want to build an open banking use case, OneSpan security services are delivering those security services for KYC, KYT, secure the device, and of course, authenticate. And then Sopra Banking is combining these pre-integrated security services in this digital banking platform to create your own customer journeys. And the benefits of these are a really short time to market because all those secured open banking services are integrated and ready in a single deployment. Secondly, as the open banking data is already flowing through the DBP, the security services of OneSpan are easily applied and have no significant impact on the performance or the user experience. So the digital banking engagement platform is also adding other digital banking services, such as compliancy, robotics, artificial intelligence, and for example, customer onboarding and engagement services. Also, you can create your own microservices on this platform or use the services from other partners on our marketplace. And another benefit is that it's combined access control for users and full audit trail on data and a highly secured architecture of the platform itself. And lastly, orchestration of open banking, because tools are included to fully manage the data and other parties in that ecosystem. And this makes this combination of OneSpan and Sopra Banking of great value to you. You can have all these secured open banking services in one go, pre-integrated and as a service delivered. And we believe the digital banking platform is the best foundation to build upon, like I told earlier, if you want to engage in open and/or digital banking. Again, if you'd like more information on this, I invite you to talk about this with me or one of my colleagues in a separate discussion tailored to your needs. So let's focus on the key takeaways. First of all, whatever your role in open banking is, there are challenges and responsibilities you need to take in terms of securing your open banking user journey. Keep these in mind when you're engaging in open banking. Secondly, the 5-step plan is a guidance to easily start securing your open banking journey. You can ask us to deep dive together with you and to tailor it to your needs and profit from our experience. Thirdly and last, Sopra and OneSpan are working together to create the best secured open banking and digital banking tools for the next generation of financial services. OneSpan security services and Sopra's digital platform service. So to conclude, open banking is a great new development, but keep in mind, it comes with great responsibilities. So thank you for now, and handing it back over to Olga to see if we've received any questions.
Thank you so much, both, for a very interesting presentation. Thank you for the demo. Hope everybody enjoyed as much as we did. And as for the questions we do have, let me see. So there is one for OneSpan, I believe, because mentioned. Is the description in the market of behavioral continuous authentication the same as what OneSpan solution, intelligent adaptive authentication, means and does? Well, I believe this one for Denis.
Sure, yeah, I'll take it. So when it comes down to behavior, continuous behaviors analyzing or authentication, OneSpan has a solution for it named Behavior Analytics, which continuously monitors the behavior of the user throughout the whole transaction or throughout the whole app usage. The data collected from behavior analytics is possible to be used in risk analytics and therefore in adaptive authentication. So yes, we can do continuous authentication throughout the whole process.
Okay, thank you, Denis. Okay, so yes. Why will it have a shorter TTM with the setup of a digital platform?
That's the one for me. So why will it have indeed the time to market with this platform? So as the open banking services are pre-integrated in our platform, and also the security services are really integrated in our platform. So we're not reselling any services. They're really will be integrated, are integrated in our platform for all of our customers, but also for new prospects. These are available and configured directly at deployment. So our platform can be deployed within hours, and we've had projects where it was a matter of days where we had a first use case was set up, so including all supportive services like these security features, but also monitoring, API management. So it's having the open banking as one package, pre-configured and integrated, available in a platform which creates that short time to market. I hope that answers that question.
I hope so. Thank you. All right. Another one for OneSpan, I think. Is OneSpan's authentication platform solution the one that replaces my current authentication landscape, or is it another solution which I use next to what I have? Denis?
Sure. I think that answer to that question is both yes and no. OneSpan can replace all your current authentication solutions, but OneSpan can also integrate with that current solution. It is not necessary to only use OneSpan, where it's a plug-and-play solution which you can combine with your current setup.
Okay, thank you very much. Then there is one question about the partnership as well. Could you please explain more on the partnership between Sopra and OneSpan? What's the value of this? I don't know who of you guys want to take this one.
Can give a try. So to explain really simply, where OneSpan is one of the most important open banking players in the field of securing it. Sopra Banking is leading in its digital platform. So we've combined the services of OneSpan into our digital platform. So now these are out of the box available in our platform, making it easy, quickly, and efficiently available as a complete service. So existing Sopra Banking clients can profit from standard out-of-the-box open banking services, and existing OneSpan clients could also profit from our digital banking services, such as onboarding, product offering, and marketplace. So this combination creates many different values. I hope this answers a little bit to this question. I'm happy to discuss this in further detail in a follow-up, of course, if it's needed.
Thank you, Nicolas. Another question about the two together. Is Sopra reselling or integrating this OneSpan solution and available for Sopra customers?
Maybe I can answer that. It's a question for both of us, but I'll answer it. The answer to is both of it. Intelligent adaptive authentication, so the OneSpan solution is both integrated onto the Sopra platform, but they can also resell it. It's not required, but it's a possibility.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I see one more question. I think it will be again for you, Denis. It looks like what makes OneSpan unique is that you're offering different types of authentication from one platform instead of having multiple solutions in place, which we need to maintain. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So the strong point, the main strong point of OneSpan is that we have a long history of authenticating in the past, and therefore we have a broad range of possible authentication methods. I'm talking about the hardware authenticator where it all started, but also mobile authenticator and, for example, virtual authenticator, which means you would get your multi-factor authentication through SMS. We cover as OneSpan all the possibilities out there, and I think that's a strong point for OneSpan. We're a one-stop shop.
All right, thank you. I hope that it covered the question, so those who asked are satisfied. Well, thank you very much. I don't see any questions so far. I think we will stop now. In case you have any other questions, any comments, or you would like to have more extended discussion with one of our speakers, you can always send an email on the email box, which are displayed just right now on the slide. So really don't hesitate to get in touch in order to rediscuss again, or maybe to do another demo. Thank you so much for having been with us on this webinar. Hope you really liked it. Hope it was insightful for you, enriching. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you on our further webinars later. Thank you so much. Bye.